Welcome everybody, it's great to have you in here. Welcome to this international press conference of Marshall Energy Global. I have only one request: to put out your mobile device because it's disturbing our technicians. Today will be a new day. Today you're going to be introduced to a new technology called a mobile power station. Today we make history. Today is another day for the whole world, because the whole world needs more energy and needs another way of energy. And this is the way energy is going to change the world. Today you're going to be introduced to the company Marshall Energy Global, and it's the founder and chairman of this company worked 38 years on this new technology. You're all going to know all about it. It's going to be a great press conference for all of you, and it's coming out to the world today. Afterwards, we have a press package for everyone, so please subscribe you down. And afterwards, we have a very nice lunch for you all. So please, I'd like to welcome to the stage chairman and founder of this company, and I'm very, very proud to be with him, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Mrs. Parsons. I want to thank everybody for coming here. This is history in the making today. A lot of people that did want to be here are not here today, and we're sad that they're not. But today it's history. Now the world will find out that this technology exists, and we're going to be moving forward with this technology. Before I continue on, I want to go ahead and bring Mr. Parsons. Mr. Parsons is my Senior Vice President of World Operations, and we're going to introduce our team. The first member of our team that I'm going to introduce is Mr. Kirk Calafucci. Mr. Calafucci is our financial expert. He is an attorney at law, and he's from the United States of America. Next, I'm going to be introducing Colonel Barron. Colonel Barron is the corporation's CFO, and he is from the United States of America, and he is a World War II and Korea War hero of the United States. Next, I'm going to be introducing Mr. Louis Lionette. Mr. Lionette is a Senior Vice President of Energy Installation for Marshall Energy. Then I'm going to be introducing Mr. Stephen Howard, is Senior Vice President of Installation of the units to go on the ground. Mr. Parsons. Oh, wait. Also, I want to introduce Stephen Stein. Stephen Stein is my attorney, and he is a litigator, and he is the one that's taking care of all media and all press from this moment forward. After this press conference, everyone will be talking directly to Mr. Stein. No, not yet.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marshall. Well, from the team from the Netherlands and Belgium, I would like to introduce Mr. Planken. Mr. Planken is head of multimedia. Secondly, I would like to introduce Ms. Dove. She is head of public relations. Then I would like to introduce our Vice President of Quality Control, Ms. Mesdag. I would like to introduce Mr. Huyers. He is our Vice President of Human Resources. And last but not least, the most important person in my life, Ms. Parsons. She's the Corporate Secretary. Thank you very much. The stage is yours.
Thank you. You'll be back up here in a minute. Okay, now to go ahead and discuss where we are with Marshall Energy and what Marshall Energy is getting ready to go ahead and do. For the last month now, we have been working with a firm in the Netherlands, and this firm has already been tooling and dying to go ahead and set up our assembly line. And we are within 2 weeks from the first mobile station coming off the assembly line here in the Netherlands. Well, we're in Belgium now, but in the Netherlands, that one will be coming off the line. Also, we have been working diligently recently with our Belgium distributors, Kurt and Kelly. They have been setting up energy supply agreements for us here in Belgium, and we have those contracts that will be being signed this week, so that way we can go ahead and start producing that energy and getting that energy out. Now, what this technology actually represents, and I think a lot of people do know and understand some of the things about it, but this is a change of an antiquated power grid in the world. Our whole world power grid is antiquated. We build power stations. These power stations transmit the electricity hundreds of miles, and in some cases over 1,000 miles, to get the electricity to the consumers or the end users, as we are, in our homes, in our businesses, and so on. So with this technology being able to be a complete mobile power station, this allows us to be able to take that energy and put it directly to the source. And where the source is where it needs to be used. By doing so, we will be lowering the cost of transmission. We will be lowering the cost of production of the energy. That production cost is usually anywhere from 70 to 80% of the total cost of what we pay as consumers for our energy. By lowering that cost, that will allow people around the world to be able to put more money into their families, be able to put more money for vacations, take their wives, their children, be able to do the things that they want to be able to do that they're not doing now. It also is a new industry. That's why history being made in the way that we're doing this, it is a lot of things with history that's being made with this technology. A new industry. This is new industry in the very beginning stages. Over the next 2 or 3 years, we will get thousands, a couple 100,000 of jobs that will be created because of this new industry. But in the future, 10 years from now, worldwide, there will probably be 8 to 20 million people working in this new industry to be able to bring electricity to each and every one's power grid, no matter where they are. Also, if you turn around and you take this technology, another part of history, this is going to be lowering our carbon footprint. Around the world right now, we are having issues with climate changes. We're having problems with our ice caps melting. Our oceans are rising. And the reason being is because climate change has risen the temperature of our planet Earth. And by doing so, now we're losing our polar caps. With this technology coming out at a pivotal time, and I remember about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, there was an article about the president of France talking about there's a tipping point and we're only 500 days away from that tipping point. And if we don't do something, then it's going to get past that, and planet Earth and us as a human society are going to have big issues and big problems. This is that first step by all of us as humans for ourselves on planet Earth to be able to take a step forward instead of backwards on energy, production of energy, transmission of energy, and cost of energy. Also, it eliminates us as needing foreign oils, using coal, building nuclear fusion plants. Every single one of these technologies that exist has waste byproducts. If you burn coal, you get fly ash, and then that just piles up, and you got to figure out what you want to do with it, and there's no place that you can actually put it. You use nuclear power, you have to go ahead and figure out where you're going to go ahead and put the stores of the heavy water that's being used, that's being polluted, or the nuclear rods when they come out. So you have a constant cost, and also you have to maintain them for hundreds of thousands of years. My technology took me 30 years to get my patent. In my patent, in the press packages that will be given out to everybody in the media, and everybody that is here will get a press package, my U.S. patent took me 30 years to get. So it wasn't something that I did overnight. It was something that I took a long time to do, went through lawyers to go ahead and do this, different law firms, but it took 30 years. At the end of that 30 years, I wound up with my United States utility patent. And this is a utility patent. This is not your normal pet rock type of patent, or it's not a patent to go ahead and do with garments or anything else like this. This is a utility patent. And in the United States of America, you have to prove what it actually does, or what you claim it does, that it actually works, to get that patent. So that's what I actually have, is a United States utility patent. My lawyers that I'm working with here now, because we got more lawyers to go ahead and improve my patent, because I've improved my technology. In the very beginning, when you read it, you'll see that I was only using 13 gallons of fuel per hour. In that 13 gallons, if we were going to take that, we were say that we're using 52 liters per hour to create 2 megawatts worth of energy. Now I'm all the way down to where I'm using, for that same hour, I'm using 12 liters of fuel. And the fuel that we're using is what we call in America B100, meaning it is 100% biodegradable, 100% green to our environment. So we are not putting something out that we're putting heavy carcinogenics or heavy CO2s or anything with this technology. We're putting out as low as emissions that is possible. And why we were in Philadelphia working with EPA and Energy Star and PECO, which is the electric company in Philadelphia, we were doing testing. And during the course of that testing, the people at EPA came up with an equation that my technology actually is greener than a tree. And the reason being, after they explained to me what they meant, and I understand, is if you take 2 megawatts worth of electricity, and 2 megawatts is 2 million kilowatts, that's available every second. And you have 8,760,000 times 2 kilowatts available in 1 year. During that course of 1 hour of operation, if you went out and you got plants, and every plant has a small energy source to it. It may be a milliamp of power, but it still has some. And you take the size of foliage, they're talking over a 1,200 mile square of foliage that would equal 2 megawatts for 1 hour. That plants would turn around and biodegrade. The leaves would fall to the ground, turn into methane, turn into other carcinogenics. Well, my technology running for the same hour and putting the carcinogenics and pollution is cleaner and greener than those plants. So my technology is the next evolution for energy, but it's going to be a final evolution for energy as far as individual. Because in the technology, we're able to go ahead and go from very large to very small. And the smallest one that we do right now is 2 megawatts. The largest one that we'll be able to do is a little bit over 100 megawatts at one time in one mobile station. And by doing so, that'll allow us to have various numbers of places to be able to distribute the energy. We don't have to go ahead and go 30, 40 miles away, build that plant, then transmit that energy. If that plant needs 6 megawatts right here, we'll be able to go ahead and do that 6 megawatts right there. That eliminates cost. That eliminates waste. It also eliminates degradation of your energy grid. When you have your lines above and you transmit your energy a very far distance, you have what they call high impedance substations. That picks up your energy level again to send it further down the line, so that way it gets to the low end user, which is us, and then that sends that energy to us as consumers. Now, if we turn around and we continue the course that we're doing, we will be using up all of our oils. We will be using up our coal. We will be polluting the planet the way that we are polluting the planet. But if we take a new action, a new step forward, in a forward view, I've been told by my attorneys, and I have a large number of attorneys, and my attorneys have said the same thing to me. It doesn't matter what anybody says, and I've heard people tell me that it's impossible, that you can't do this, that you're breaking Einstein's history of 1 part energy in equals 1 part energy out. Well, the Wright brothers were told that if we were meant to fly, we would have wings. The person that invented the cell phone said it would never ever work. The person, they were told these things. So when there's a good type of technology, it's nothing more than an evolution of a human being being able to see something different and being able to do that. The technology works. It works exceptionally well. We're going to be building it here in Europe. We're going to go ahead and get it produced in Europe. We're going to get it distributed out in Europe, and then we'll go ahead and get to the rest of the world. As far as the United States, I got one of my personal attorneys here with me, and he will tell you for the last 15 years that he's been with me, I have tried every way possible to go ahead and get the technology out in the United States, working with the governments and stuff, and it basically came to the same thing. Close the door because it wasn't about the money to them. In other words, it wasn't going to make them money. It was going to go ahead and, in their opinion, make less money. But that's a fallacy. If you turn around and you go to a consumer and you give them an electric bill and they're paying 10 cents, 12 cents euro a kilowatt an hour, and then they're only using 200 or 300 kilowatt hours every month because they want to shut their lights off. They want to turn their air condition up a little higher instead of lowering it, so that way they're not as comfortable. But then you take my technology and you put it to the grid now, and you lowering the cost to that consumer. That consumer where you're having the same revenue if it's taxed, You're having the same revenue on the energy side for what you're paying for the consumption of a kilowatt hour. That's the same. In the United States, it's a half a penny per kilowatt hour. That's all we are charged as consumers in the US, is a half a penny per kilowatt hour. Here in Europe, in some places, it's a half a penny, some places it's a penny, but I've seen it as high as 3 cents, you know, as far as a kilowatt hour. So if you're stuck with those numbers, and then now you've lowered the cost to them because of production, transmission, and that consumer now, his electric or her electric bill is, instead of being $100 a month, now it's down at $10, $15, $20 a month. They're going to be more adaptive, leaving their lights on, turning their energy down on their air condition so it could stay a little bit more cooler. And the long run is it's more profitable to the taxation side because they're taxed more. It's more profitable to the energy side because the energy is selling more kilowatt hours. So this technology, in the direction that I intend to take it, is out to the world. We're going to bring it out as hard. We're going to bring it out as fast. We're looking for jobs. We're creating jobs. We're creating green energy. We're creating a solid base to eliminate carbon footprint. We will go ahead and make sure that the technology always stays green. We want to use green fuels when we operate it. And then in the second part of that patent of mine, we're able to go ahead and use solar electric. If solar panels get well enough that we can use them on Earth, they don't work that well. They only get about 22 to 28% of its actual energy input to output to it. But the third part of my technology is magnetics. And I'll be 17 to 18 years away from being able to put magnetic technology to the mobile station. Then we eliminate fuel costs completely, which will lower it once again. So in the direction that we're going with the technology is number one, we're going to be manufacturing it. That is a definite. We're going to be manufacturing it. Our first plant that we will be opening is in the Netherlands. We are also looking at bringing it to Germany. We're in talks with Germany. We're in talks with Thailand right now. We're actually in talks here in Belgium to be able to bring a plant here in Belgium. We're also in talks in the UK. So we're in talks with a lot of different governments. We're in talks with a lot of different corporations. And we've sat down with Luminous. We've sat down with E.ON. We've sat down with other energy companies, and they're interested now. And the reason they're finally interested is because they can see the benefit of being able to be centralized with your energy versus having your energy transmitted long distance. So as far as the future of Marshall Energy is one corporation that is going to be around for a very long time. I may have started it, but it'll be long past my life. It'll be past my children, my grandchildren. This is going to be here for a very long time. We will not stop. We will not let it go. It's not for sale. The technology is coming out to the world. And now I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. Stein, so that way Mr. Stein can introduce himself. Excuse me. And let everybody know in the media and the press that to speak with me or to speak to anybody in my corporation, they have to go through Mr. Steve Stein. His information will be in that press package. And then that way everybody can go ahead and reach out to Mr. Stein and speak with Mr. Stein. Mr. Stein, if you wouldn't mind walking up, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As noted, my name is Steve Stein. I am centered in Las Vegas. The information you need to contact me is contained in the package, which you will get after this conference. I met Mr. Marshall some time ago. I am greatly impressed by him personally. I have absolutely no idea electronically, scientifically, how this particular widget works, but I know it works. I know from other people telling me it. My job, based on my background, is to discuss with the press and with the politicians of the world anything they need from Mr. Marshall, from the corporation, from the other members of the corporation that you have met. I am coordinating contacts with those people, giving the information to the politicians, to the press, and to individuals, because these individuals are far too busy making this work and making our planet better. We are not, we being Marshall Energy, is not in this for the profit. We are in it to preserve our ecology. We are in it to save money for the consumers so that the consumers can spend more money on food, on clothing, on education of their children. We are in it to make the planet Earth a better place for all of you, your children, and your grandchildren. That is what Mr. Marshall's goal is. It is not to make money. Now, I'm not saying he'll give up all his money. Nobody will do that. But he's not in it for his personal economic benefit. He's in it to benefit the world and the people of this world. And I would like to emphasize to all of you, number one, the main thing that you will be getting from this corporation is a lowering of the emissions into the atmosphere, which is destroying our planet. Secondly, you are getting energy at a lower rate, so you will have more money to spend on things that are far more important than electricity. If you wish to speak to Mr. Marshall, any member of this group, any member of the corporation, or if the politicians who are not here, I guess, wish to speak to anybody, contact me. I will set that up. I will make them available. They will answer your questions openly and honestly. And together, if we can get the politicians online, we will have a better world. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. Thank you very much, Mr. Stein. Now, before I turn the floor over to Mr. Parsons, the Senior Vice President and stuff, a few more words that I do want to say. What Mr. Stein is alluding to, which is 100%, if you knew me personally and you've known me for years like some of my team has, this is about changing the world for the betterment of all humanity. This is not about me in my pocket. If it was about me in my pocket, I can probably bring more than 100 attorneys up here and tell you the exact same thing. I've been offered big money for my patent. It's not for sale. This is something that we need to do collectively as a group of people, societies, whatever that anybody looks at this is a group of people that we have to go ahead and make a change for our children. If we don't start today, where are we going to be tomorrow? This technology represents that beginning stage. This is the first step in the evolution of the modernization of the human race going into the future. The changes that will be made by this technology, the ramifications are larger than what you or I could even perceive at this time. 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, they'll be talking about this day, that each and every one of you were sitting here during this day while I was speaking, because this technology is actually that important. I know what it means. I know what it represents. That's why it's not for sale. Mr. Parsons, I'm going to give the floor to you, so that way you can have a few words, sir, and we'll go ahead and take it from there. Mr. Parsons.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna use the desk. Good. 1 year ago, I came in contact with Mr. Marshall. We spoke about his work concerning his new revolutionary technology, and I instantly was more than interested. The idea of saving the world by decreasing the carbon credit footprint was very appealing. I believe that if we don't do anything about the CO2 emission, Mother Earth will definitely be in a situation that all the destructive processes we caused can't be turned around. Mother Earth is all about harmony. She will go on, animals and plants will find their own way again, But for us human beings, it will be pretty hard to survive. That worries me a lot, and it should worry every human being. If we don't change the way we produce energy at this moment, it will be an irreversible process. So we have to change right now. In my experience as an entrepreneur for the last 20 years, I know when something worthwhile crosses my path. Without any knowledge nor expectations, I flew to the US last year to meet with Mr. Marshall and learn more about his technology. When I arrived, we went to the location where the mobile power station was built, the prototype. I was very impressed, and after talks with the engineers and lawyers, we decided to introduce this technology in Europe to start with. The reason for this decision, Mr. Marshall already mentioned it, was the discooperation by certain parties in the US. Back in Europe, we started to contact assembly and engineering companies to help us bring out this technology. What struck me the most was the fact that a lot of people showed disbelief about the mobile power station. This is not uncommon. When the first car was invented, nobody believed this invention would change the world. For that matter, would anyone have believed 40 years ago that we would now talk on a wireless phone or use the internet daily? It's human nature to be skeptic about new mind-blowing developments. Last year, I worked intensively with Mr. Marshall, and together we have traveled the world to get in contact with energy distributors and other interested parties. Mr. Marshall is one of the most intelligent persons I have ever met. He has dedicated his whole life to this technology, to bring green renewable energy throughout the world. From our European headquarters in London, we have been in negotiations with energy companies in the UK, Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Germany, and several Asian countries. We have had promising contacts with the British Department of Energy and Climate Control, Luminous Electrawinds in Belgium, Nuon and Aeon in the Netherlands, EDF in France, and a few other interested parties. At this time, we already have signed contracts with some of them and are still in negotiations with the rest of them. So there is no question about it at all, about the demand. On the contrary, the only challenge we have at this moment is to keep up with the demand. Therefore, we have already started the production of the mobile power station in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. At this moment, we are looking at opening up a new plants in the UK, Belgium, Germany, France, several countries in Asia, and the South and North America. Each plant will bring at least 25,000 new straightforward jobs. At least. And this is not including the secondary jobs. So besides helping the world to green renewable energy, we will also help the world's economy. The genius about Marshall Energy's global marketing plan is that we do not sell the mobile power plant. We only sell the energy. This means that Marshall Energy Global takes care of all the services and refueling of the mobile power stations. Through this system, we can reduce the costs of energy because we produce cheaper and we don't have the transportation costs of the energy, which is the biggest part of everybody's energy bill. At the end, we will reduce the end consumer's energy bill with at least 50%. Now, to give you all an idea about how the mobile power station looks from the inside, we have made a short introduction movie from the first prototype that was built in the United States. In the end, you will see the mobile power station at full speed as Mr. Marshall shows us how easy it is to start and stop the mobile power station.
Welcome inside the M4P2 Totally Mobile Power Station. Here is our master control unit, which controls the operations of the M4P2 to start and stop the unit. Over here we have a custom built and installed fire suppression system. Behind this door is our biofuel generator. It is a low consumption biofuel generator which can run off of a variety of any biodegradable fuel. Over here we have our output circuit breaker, which controls the electricity leaving the M4P2 mobile station. Finally, the heart of our operation is the M4P2 generator. Our plan is to implant one of these generators into each substation in our nation's power grid. By doing so, we will convert each substation to its own primary power station. This will not only decrease costs of generating the power, but also lower costs of transmitting the power from the power station to the consumer. When the power station cost decreases, so does the cost of electricity to the consumer. That is the heart of our goal for the M4P2 Totally Mobile Power Station.
Good morning. We're here at the mobile power station. I want you to see exactly how long from the time the mobile power station is set in location, how long it takes before you can power the units that you're going to be powering. Walking into the gate. Unlocking the doors. Here's how easy it is to shut down. That's how easy it is to shut the mobile station down.
Okay, this is the reason why we want to share this news with you today. As of from the 20th of June, that is in about 17 days, we will start with walkthroughs through the mobile power station, the first in Europe produced mobile power station produced by Marshall Energy Global. We will invite press, we will invite people from energy companies, we will invite people from governments to personally feel the mobile power station of Marshall Energy Global. On our website and in the press kit, you will find a form, a registration form, and you can get in contact with us to book a walkthrough through the mobile power station. Okay, I want to thank you for your appearances today, and I want to give the stage to Ms. Mesdag, who will tell you a little bit more about the mobile power station. Thank you all.
Hello. On behalf of Mr. Marshall and our entire team of Marshall Energy Global, I want to thank you kindly for your attention. In a moment, you will have the opportunity to collect your press package. In the next couple of weeks, we will not only build the mobile power station, but we will also start the certification procedures, because everything that is built in Europe has to have a CE certification label to be able to distribute and install our mobile power stations. So we have a lot of heavy work ahead, and I'm looking forward to working with our entire team to make this happen. Inside the press package, you will find all the information about the mobile power station and its patent, an exclusive interview with Mr. Marshall, the registration form and the dates for the walkthrough visits of the mobile power station at Rotterdam, and much more information. I also kindly invite you to address Mr. Stein in order to obtain an appointment with Mr. Marshall. And do not hesitate to contact any of us through our website, www.marshallenergyglobal.com. The press packages are available at the exit, preferably only for members of the press and future business associates. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye.